All right, hey everyone who is joining us. We're just getting our live stream up and running, so bear with us for just a moment while we get everything set up here. We're going to be doing live streaming coverage on the Storm Tracker 21 app, on WFMJ.com, and on my YouTube and Twitter and Facebook outlets. And I'll get this shared everywhere where I need it to be shared. Alright, again, we're just getting started with the live streaming coverage this evening, and I'm just sharing our live stream everywhere where we need to share it. So we're going to get started in earnest here in just a moment. And we're just about there. Gotta jump through a lot of hoops, to get this thing up and running. Let's see, we'll do that, and... Alright, I think we are good to go. Alright, good evening everyone. It's 21 News Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm here, and Meteorologist Andrew DiPaolo is in the office this evening as well for a little overtime after working earlier on today. So far so good on our severe weather threats today. We've had some scary clouds in some places. We've seen some kind of mothership clouds down towards Calcutta and East Liverpool in southeastern Columbiana County earlier on. Some scary looking stuff, but thankfully damaging winds, large hail, we haven't seen that. We've had some clouds, we've had some rain, we've had some thunder and lightning, but the damaging wind gusts have so far missed us to the south and southeast, and also some severe weather off to our north and west so far this evening. Just going to real quickly make sure I get make sure everybody can, if everybody can hear me okay, be sure and let me know in the comments. I always like to make sure that our microphones are working. Right now we have one active severe thunderstorm warning. This was issued a little while ago, and it runs until 7:15, so for another 10 minutes. And this includes kind of the southern tier of Columbiana County, basically from Lisbon and West Point on south towards Summitville, Salineville, Highlandtown, heading over towards Wellsville as well. Now this is a big severe thunderstorm warning box. Look how big this thing is. Basically extends from all the way south of I-70 through the Wheeling area, and then all the way up to about Route 30 in Columbiana County. Andrew and I were a little bit surprised at the size of this thing when they issued it, but they're not, they're not piddling around here. This cluster of storms has had a history of producing some pretty strong winds as it's moved through parts of southeast Ohio and central Ohio, from Columbus to Cambridge and Zanesville, and now heading over towards the Wheeling area as well. Close to our viewing area, we're getting some distant lightning and thunder now south of the Columbiana Carroll line, and also down into parts of Jefferson County as well, closer to Steubenville. All of this looks pretty garden variety at this point. When you look at the kind of traditional radar, not much stands out there. As when we look at the winds off the radar source near the Pittsburgh airport over towards Moon Township, the radar is picking up on some decent winds here along the leading edge, coming into Carroll County now, up towards Burgles, up towards Island Creek, and into the Steubenville area. Nothing that really looks all that crazy right now. This is mostly, I would say, sub-severe, judging by the kind of the radar presentation at the current time. So we'll see what happens in 10 minutes with the active warning, whether or not they allow it to expire at that point, or if they expand it off to the north and east. So we're keeping an eye on this cluster. We're also keeping an eye on what's going on to our west. This is the other line of note. This had a tornado warning attached to it earlier out towards Tiffin in northwest Ohio. Now it's approaching the Lorain area and into the Sandusky area and approaching the western suburbs of Cleveland. And severe thunderstorm warnings are out for a while yet here in the 7 o'clock hour, coming pretty close to the Cleveland area along I-90. And this heads down just north of Mansfield as well. Now this line has had a history of producing some rotation. There are no active tornado warnings right now, but it definitely will bear watching. And let's put a little loop on this and show you that the main surge with that line, the part that has the severe thunderstorm warnings along it, is kind of hugging I-90, and on its current track, might impact our northern viewing area at some point later this evening, maybe in an hour and a half or so. But right now, it looks like the main thrust of this would be a little bit closer to the lakeshore if it maintains its current speed and trajectory. Because this northern cluster or line has had a history of producing some rotation. Earlier on, the National Weather Service in Cleveland did expand the tornado watch to the north. Originally, when the tornado watch was issued, it included Columbiana County on south. Then Cleveland added a bunch of their counties to it, including in our area, Mahoning and Trumbull counties. And this runs until 9 p.m. Tornado watch for another little less than 2 hours. The reason why they expanded the watch, again, because of the potential for rotation with that line that's kind of lining up along the cold front, actually, that's pushing into northern Ohio right now. Thanks to everyone for joining us this evening. Again, if you're just joining us, we're doing a live stream this evening because we have the potential for some severe weather. We've dodged the bullets so far, but we have two things to keep an eye on. One cluster maybe impacting parts of our southern viewing area here shortly, and then the other cluster off to the north and west taking aim at the Cleveland area here in the short term, and perhaps our northern television viewing area in our area, mostly Trumbull County, maybe Mercer eventually, but that's it's a couple hours away. This is still west of Cleveland right now. Let's focus on what's closest to us, and I'm going to put a loop on the radar here and show you the direction of this cluster of storms to the south of Columbiana County right now. This is impacting parts of Jefferson County, heading over towards Hancock County in the panhandle of West Virginia. Also parts of southern Carroll County impacted by this. This rolled through the Dover and New Philly areas in Tuscarawas County a little while ago, kind of the second round of storms to impact the Route 39 corridor and heading over towards Wheeling and Steubenville. Earlier, we did have a tornado warning for just south of Pittsburgh with a pretty pronounced hook echo with a storm. Thankfully, that tornado warning was allowed to expire at about, I believe, 6:15 or so this evening. We have not had any active tornado warnings in western PA ever since. But yeah, this cluster that's approaching from the south, now this does not have the hail with it that we had earlier. We had some pretty beefy hail reports earlier, up to golf ball size, down towards Interstate 70 from the eastern suburbs of Columbus, heading over towards Cambridge and Zanesville. And
egg size hail?
Yeah, we had some egg size hail earlier on. Reported. You remember where that was, Andrew? That the egg size was reported.
That was near Zanesville.
Oh.
I'll find that report real quick just to get the specific place. But...
Yeah, Andrew mentioning earlier we had not only golf ball size hail, but hail the size of eggs was reported. That's pretty big hail for Ohio. That's the kind of hail we think more of in the Plain States. We get hail around here, of course, but typically it's more of the pea size or maybe dime size or quarter size at the most. In Ohio, getting hail that big is something that doesn't happen with that great of frequency. So that was something earlier. Now, the current storms do not have that kind of hail. These are wind producers, some lightning, some thunder. I'm going to be interested to see in 5 minutes whether or not they allow this big severe thunderstorm watch box to expire. I don't see much sign of strengthening on this, and right now it looks mostly sub-severe to me as far as the winds being picked up on the radar. A lot of this blue, a lot of these stronger winds back here, this is wind aloft, and this is behind the main cluster of storms, so most of this wind is probably staying aloft. Where we have the most prolific lightning and thunder and probably the tallest storms, it's kind of disconnected from where the strongest winds are aloft right now. So by the looks of it, this is all fairly sub-severe, and you'll notice there's not a lot of fresh lightning either. If we had a bunch of fresh new lightning with this, you'd see a lot of these lightning symbols on our radar, the plus signs and the lightning bolts. You'd see them white instead of kind of grayed out. Those are older lightning strikes, the ones that are kind of grayed out. So we're not getting a lot of fresh lightning. When you get a lot of fresh lightning, that's usually indicative of a strengthening storm. Not seeing a lot of that right now.
And Eric, the National Weather Service, as you point your camera up there, did reissue that tornado warning. And they're right now saying that there's a small little notch that they're keeping a close eye on within that bow ecosystem, and they're going to continue that severe thunderstorm warning now until 7:30 for, I think the furthest point east is what, Cuyahoga County then?
Yeah, parts of western Cuyahoga County. So yeah, Andrew mentioning that they issued a new tornado warning for west of Cleveland. This has had a history of kind of cycling up and down with some rotation at some points and then other times not so much. The meteorologist on duty at the National Weather Service office in Cleveland saw enough fresh rotation to issue a new tornado warning. This includes Elyria, North Ridgeville, Oberlin. Again, this is mostly west of Cleveland and far away from our TV viewing area, but this is something that we have to keep an eye on here because this may eventually graze Trumbull County. I doubt it has any impacts farther south than that, but in a while this could impact parts of our TV viewing area. In fact, do we have a forward speed on that, Andrew? That tornado warned storm? Did they mention?
Let me see here. Yeah, we should. At 7:10, moving at northeast at 45 miles per hour.
So we'll do a storm track on this. This is moving east-northeast at 45, something like this. If this were to hold together, this would, get into the Ashtabula area probably at about 10 till 9, and I would expect some of our northern Trumbull communities to kind of be in the same boat from Mesopotamia over towards Kinsman and everywhere in between, the Bloomfield area. Might have to watch out for this in about, maybe an hour to an hour and a half or so, sometime during the 8 o'clock hour if this holds together. I don't think this line that has the tornado warning on it now would impact areas as far south as, say, Youngstown and Mahoning County and Columbiana County and Lawrence County, but Trumbull County, especially northern Trumbull, maybe eventually even northern Mercer, we'll see if this manages to keep its structure. A lot of our high-resolution modeling, our computer models, have this weakening as it enters northeast Ohio. It kind of outruns the best instability, the best wind shear aloft, the changing of the wind direction and speed as you go up through the atmosphere. The conditions not quite as favorable once you're into northeast Ohio as across north central and northwest Ohio. So we'll keep an eye on that. Again, we've got about one more minute on our current warning that includes the Lisbon area, West Point down to Salineville, Summitville, Highlandtown, over towards Wellsville, not quite to East Liverpool. And we'll have a decision from the National Weather Service office in Pittsburgh whether or not they want to issue something new. I doubt they will, though. To my eye, this looks sub-severe right now. Some gusty winds, along the leading edge, approaching kind of the Jefferson Columbiana border, the Carroll Columbiana border. Yes, some gusty winds, mostly sub-severe, I would say, to my eye. And again, the hail is not much of a threat with these, as opposed to our storms that we had across eastern Ohio a few hours ago. Again, just to recap for those just joining us, a tornado watch remains out until 9 p.m. for our Ohio counties in our TV viewing area, from Columbiana County to Mahoning and Trumbull. It includes Beaver County in southwestern PA. Also includes the Panhandle of West Virginia and all the counties to our south, closer to Tuscarawas and Carroll and places like that. Also includes far northern Ohio. That runs until 9 p.m. You are not in the tornado watch in Mercer and Lawrence, and I don't expect you to be at this point, so you probably will not be put under a tornado watch at any point.
It appears they just did expire that. The yellow box disappeared from the radar.
Yeah, the big...
There's going to be a post here soon.
The big severe thunderstorm warning expired at 7:15. That included parts of southern Columbiana. So that's some good news. Weather Service kind of concurring with what I was mentioning a moment ago, that this looks mostly sub-severe to me. The Weather Service office in Cleveland mentioning with that fresh tornado warning west of Cleveland, rotation near Wellington, small couplet on the radar, well-defined notch in the bow, and the velocity data causing the concern up there. So let's take a peek at that real quickly. Again, this is not close to our viewing area right now, but we're going to keep an eye on it because eventually this storm might impact our northern communities. So here's where that tornado warning is out. Oberlin, Pittsfield, Wellington, Grafton, North Ridgeville, all west of downtown Cleveland. Tornado warning out until 7:45 this evening. All right, so do we have a new warning?
That, yeah.
They reissued. Okay, let's.
For really just south of the Lisbon area, but includes Salineville, East Liverpool, and then it pushes over into Beaver County, a much smaller polygon.
Yeah, so the Weather Service did issue, as it turns out, they did issue a new polygon, a smaller one, but a new polygon now for southeastern Columbiana. So you're out of the polygon now in most of the Lisbon area, Elk Run, Nagley, places like that. But once you get down towards Highlandtown, Salineville, Wellsville, East Liverpool, Calcutta, Glenmore, maybe up towards West Point as well, you are in the warning polygon now, and this runs until 7:45. So this one is a much smaller polygon, but they saw enough evidence on the radar, I guess, enough gusty winds for the new warning. There's one pocket here that looks pretty interesting. It's right here where you see this blue. Burgles on east, sampling some pretty strong winds in there. That's really the only pocket of strong winds that I see. So this is probably right around severe criteria. Heading east of Carroll County now, heading over towards Jefferson County. And that's the reason why the new warning was issued, because of that little pocket right there. All the stuff that's closer to East Liverpool right now, heading over the river towards Chester in West Virginia, all of this is subsevere in here, but this pocket right here where you see these deeper reds, we have some strong winds in here and a little fresh lightning as well, so that's the reason why we got a new warning. And yeah, there it is right there. That kind of this teal blue area right here. We'll put a little loop on this to show you what direction this is moving. This will come towards Wellsville and East Liverpool eventually. It's going to take another probably 15 or 20 minutes. But heads up, if you're watching us from far southern Columbiana County, from Yellow Creek to East Liverpool, Calcutta, Glenmore, Laycroft, over towards Highlandtown as well, along 39, you got a pocket of wind coming in, and a new severe thunderstorm warning is out. Now, if you're watching us from north of where this severe thunderstorm warning is out, we have no imminent severe weather threat anywhere in northern Columbiana County, Mahoning County, Trumbull County, Mercer and Lawrence counties. We're doing okay right now. I would say in Mahoning County, we're probably going to be in a squeeze play for a lot of the evening between the southern stuff and the stuff that will come across the northern tier. So I would say our severe thunderstorm chances are pretty low at this point in all of Mahoning County and maybe northwestern Columbiana as well, up towards Salem and Damascus and over towards the Stark County line, over towards the Alliance area. I'm not real concerned about severe weather for the rest of the evening in those locations. Not going to sound the all clear completely just yet, but I'd say your severe weather chances in those locations that I just mentioned, the chances are lower than off to your south and off to your north. So, severe thunderstorm warning runs until 7:45. 25 minutes on this south of Lisbon, along 30, along 11. As you get closer to the Ohio River, we have to watch out for a ball of wind approaching from the south and west. This will probably graze the Salineville area, but farther east on 39 towards Highlandtown. And then once you come into the Wellsville area, we have to watch out for this strong wind. If you have loose outdoor items, an empty trash can, trampoline, something like that, in this far southern tier of Columbiana County, if you're watching us from this zone, if you have loose outdoor items, maybe run outside real quick and secure them if you can, because you don't have a whole lot of time before this comes in. The strongest of the winds, again, right now, just about to push into southwestern and southern Columbiana County. This is the zone right here that we have to watch out for. And this is, looks like mostly missing Salineville now, aimed more towards the Wellsville area, and heading over towards the casino, and then into the East Liverpool area. Yeah, heads up. This is coming your way with winds of 50 to 60 miles per hour. But as you are about to see, hail is not a real big concern with this. We're not really picking up on any hail at all. If anything, just little pea size. That is about it. So severe hail is not a concern. Also, a tornado at this point is not a concern. I know our Ohio counties are under a tornado watch until 9 p.m. I don't see evidence of rotation being very prominent with this. But as I've been talking about on social media today, and you'll hear me say this a lot during severe weather coverage, wind is wind. And a lot of times straight line, severe thunderstorm winds of 60, 70 miles per hour, that's equivalent to a low-end EF0 tornado. It can do the same kind of damage. You don't need a tornado to have big impacts. You can have straight-line winds with no rotation whatsoever, and that kind of stuff can cause damage and cause especially weaker trees to fall, especially if they've been weakened by recent winds or a lot of rain. The root structure may be a little bit weak, or the soil may be loose, and that's the kind of wind that can bring down trees. And again, you don't need a tornado for that to happen. All right, so
And Eric, speaking of interesting reports here, we just got one in from the National Weather Service in Cleveland. This is a Skywarn report. House struck by lightning in the Port Clinton area on fire. That's Ottawa County. We often talk about the straight line winds, how dangerous those can be, but equally how dangerous either flash flooding or lightning can be, which are often the top two fatality damage producers when it comes to severe weather.
Andrew mentioning behind me, and for those watching on Facebook or YouTube, I know you can't hear Andrew's mic, but we have a report of a house struck by lightning up in northern Ohio, Ottawa County, and Andrew made a good point that wind and tornadoes and even hail, sometimes that gets all the publicity, but lightning is super dangerous and flash flooding is super dangerous, and those are the two things that tend to injure or even kill more people than tornadoes, which are quite a bit more rare. Around here, tornadoes happen, but not with a great amount of frequency, and we see a lot more frequent lightning storms and even flash flooding and things like that. So you got to take stuff like that seriously, and a house caught fire due to a lightning strike earlier on today. This is the tornado-warned storm approaching the western suburbs of Cleveland. This tornado warning runs until 7:45. This has had a history of producing some rotation at times from the Tiffin area in far northwest Ohio all the way across Interstate 80 along the Ohio Turnpike, and now it's near the Grafton area. This tornado warning runs for another 20 minutes for some of the far western suburbs of Cleveland and heading out closer to Lorain. And as I've been talking about, in case you're just joining us, this is a long ways off, but eventually this cluster might try to clip our northern viewing area. Now, our high-resolution modeling would suggest that it weakens a fair amount as we get closer to sunset here in about an hour, and the ingredients in the atmosphere become a little less favorable for rotation once you're into northeast Ohio, northwestern PA, but still, in our northern viewing area, especially north of Interstate 80, this will be something that we're going to keep a close eye on, certainly as we go through time.
And the National Weather Service, Eric, also noting that it's still moving at about 45 miles per hour, but that couplet almost moving due east now compared to northeast when it issued its last polygon.
Yeah, so the Weather Service now says, almost due east and about 45, Andrew? So,
yes.
Yeah. So if we do a fresh storm track on this, moving it kind of due east like this, that would put it into Ravenna at about 8:35, into the Warren area, 8:47 to 9 o'clock, kind of after 8:30. And I know we can't list every city in this list, but you can extrapolate a little bit. If you live near Warren or Howland, places like that, down to Niles and into the Cortland area, kind of that zone, we'll have to pay attention to this if it holds together in about an hour or so, between, say, 8:30 and 9:15. If you're watching from far western Trumbull, closer to Newton Falls, Southington, up towards Mesopotamia, Bloomfield, this will probably be more of a concern a little bit closer to 8:30, maybe even 8:20 in those areas. And again, the farther south you are, especially south of Interstate 80, the worst part of this line, this northern Ohio line, looks like it's going to miss us to the north. Now, we can still get a line of showers and storms in our entire area before the evening is through. As you can see, this line extends all the way to the south like this. But the severe part of this is kind of this bowing segment in the north, and odds are favoring that, impacting areas north of I-80 in about an hour to an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. So
they pretty much doubled that polygon too just now, stretching as far east as the Hudson-Solon area, almost into Summit County now. So the Summit-Geauga line, that's where that polygon now ends.
Yeah, so now we have a new extension of the warning polygon that includes the greater Cleveland area, clips Akron up towards Richfield, and Cuyahoga Falls, places like that. That runs until 8:30. So the Weather Service is not messing around today. They're issuing these big severe thunderstorm warning boxes because these storms mean some business, and they're moving fairly quickly, so you don't have time to issue little polygons. You got to issue a big one. And so that's that northern Ohio cluster right now. The Emergency Management Agency Director in Sandusky County reports Route 20 is passable, but motorists must slow down, hydroplaning, things like that. So yeah, we're getting reports of some pretty nasty conditions in northern and northwest Ohio right now. In our local area, severe thunderstorm warning runs for another 20 minutes in southern Columbiana County. And let's check in on the wind situation now. We're looking for the kind of brighter greens to teal, and yeah, here's our cluster of winds. So getting really hyper local on this. This is right along the Jefferson Columbiana line, Route 39 and south, and so right in through here, Yellow Creek area, and coming towards Wellsville, we've got some pretty strong winds right now. And if I query this, we'll take a couple of samples here. We could have some wind gusts in here of 50 to perhaps even 60 plus miles per hour, hence the new severe thunderstorm warning that was issued earlier on. Now, that area where it's really windy is pretty small. This is, another decent-sized severe thunderstorm polygon, but the area where it's really windy is actually pretty small. But this can impact one of the bigger cities in the polygon, including, around the East Liverpool area. So again, heads up if you're watching us from southeastern Columbiana County. If you have some loose outdoor items, empty trash can, trampoline, lawn furniture, things like that, kids' toys, anything that might be just kind of loose, you might have some serious wind to contend with here shortly. So maybe run outside real quickly and secure those items. I'm not concerned about a tornado down here. I don't see evidence of rotation right now, but still some strong thunderstorm winds coming into far southern Columbiana County here in the next 5 to 15 minutes. So again, heads up East Liverpool, Glenmore, Calcutta, Laycroft, over towards Wellsville, heading into the Yellow Creek area, and mostly north of Mountaineer Casino right now. And this is east of southern local district mostly, although it's pretty close. And this is mostly east of Salineville right now. Here's the traditional radar. So in addition to a lot of wind, we've got some real heavy rain, some hefty downpours coming into the Wellsville area right now. Most of this is staying just to the south and southeast of Lisbon. No severe weather threat in Hanoverton, Sebring, Damascus, Washingtonville, Salem, Columbiana, heading over towards East Palestine. And once you're up into Mahoning County, we're in pretty good shape right now. The concern right now is in southern Columbiana County, and eventually, perhaps, our northern viewing area, especially into Trumbull County with this cluster of warned storms that is about to plow through the Cleveland area here momentarily. Storms earlier today had a history of producing a lot of hail. This was mid-afternoon activity, closer to Columbus and kind of hugging I-70, Zanesville, Cambridge, heading over towards Wheeling. We had some wind damage also around the Wheeling area, and also in the Pittsburgh area. We actually had a tornado warning for a time between Washington and Pittsburgh earlier on, and some wind damage did occur as well.
And Eric, I know it's non-severe, but the line just off to the west of Columbus has been picking up in intensity as far as rainfall rates go. They're now a little bit over an inch per hour from what I kind of loosely saw, with a decent amount of lightning. Nothing severe on it, but definitely some soakers out there as that line tracks almost due east northeast.
Yeah, and this line that Andrew is talking about this evening right now is sub-severe, but with some decent rain rates and a lot of lightning and thunder. This is actually a little bit closer to where the cold front is. All of this is fairly sub-severe right now, but we're going to keep an eye on it. The bigger concern is with the Boeing echo on the northern end of this. So I mentioned earlier that our severe weather risk is looking pretty low in a lot of Mahoning County. You may still get in on this main line, but if it stays sub-severe, it'll be not the biggest deal in the world. A little more concerned off to the north of I-80 with the Boeing segment up here, and then south of Route 30 down in Columbiana County with the current warned storm down here.
And they canceled that tornado warning too.
All right, so as fast as that Boeing segment cycled up with some rotation, the rotation seemed to have gone away some, so they canceled the tornado warning for some of the western suburbs of Cleveland. And yeah, it doesn't look quite as impressive on the wind data off the Cleveland-based radar as it did a little while ago. All right, so resetting for those of us who may be just joining us, we started our live stream almost a half an hour ago at this point. We're doing live streaming coverage this evening because we do have a severe weather threat for some areas. Tornado watch is out still until 9 p.m. for all of the counties in red. This includes in our TV viewing area, Trumbull, Mahoning, Columbiana. Does not include Mercer and Lawrence and probably never will. The tornado watch also extends off to the west and off to the south. The threat of a tornado in our local area, pretty small, and probably decreasing as we go deeper into the evening. The bigger concern is just with regular thunderstorm winds, which if they're strong enough, can do the same kind of thing that a low-end tornado can do. And that's why we have a severe thunderstorm warning out right now in southern Columbiana County for another 13 minutes. Here's a fresh look at some of the wind velocity data. Thankfully, does not look quite as strong as earlier, although you still have a little compact ball of wind right here, hugging the Ohio River right now, and making a beeline towards Laycroft and the Glenmore area, maybe just missing downtown East Liverpool to the north. So as you head up the hill away from the river and a little bit closer to Glenmore and Calcutta, busy shopping area down here. Probably going to get some pretty decent winds here. The latest scan got rid of the teal colors though, so this may be in kind of a downward cycle. Still some strong winds, but I'm not seeing the kind of winds that we had a few radar scans ago when we had some teals and some blues when this was just north of Newell and just across the river. Latest scan is not quite as impressive, so maybe a little bit of a cycling down of that storm. For those watching the stream on social media, I'm going to show you a couple of pictures here. This is from Asheville, Ohio, on Ohio 674 north of Royalton Road. So this is somewhere, I'm not exactly sure where this is, somewhere in western Ohio. I'm going to bring this up here. Pictures shared with me on Twitter of, looks like some minor damage, maybe some roof damage to some structures here. This might have been low-end tornado damage. This might have been straight-line winds. And again, I'm not exactly sure where this is. Somewhere in western Ohio. I'm not real great with my extreme western Ohio geography. But someone shared those pictures with me on Twitter. So thanks for the share. Again, that was in Asheville, Ohio, Ohio 674 north of Royalton Road, southwest. They tagged the National Weather Service office in Wilmington, which covers southwest Ohio. So presumably that's somewhere in western Ohio, although, again, I'm not exactly sure where. And we're back here with the radar. Thankfully, I like the looks of things here in southern Columbiana County. Some gusty winds, but not as strong as earlier. I'll actually real quickly sample these winds off the short-range Pittsburgh radar, which is located a little bit closer to the Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, where those states all kind of meet up. The radar site's a little bit closer to Ohio than the main radar, and this is kind of a short-range radar. We like to look at this when stuff is real close to that radar site because the radar beam does not extend very far, and so it's not real useful once you get far enough away from that radar. Showing some gusty winds coming into southern Columbiana County, but mostly I'd say sub-severe at this point. We're going to switch over to the main Pittsburgh radar here so you'll see the colors flip. Gusty winds, Laycroft, Newell, parts of the East Liverpool area coming into Calcutta, Glenmore, along 267, along Route 30 and 11, and then again down the hill closer to the river. Some gusty winds, but a lot of this does not look as strong as earlier when we had some 50 to 60, even 65 mile per hour gusts being sampled by the radar. So we'll see if this trend continues, but we currently have a severe thunderstorm warning for these areas until 7:45. Off to the north, if you're watching us from Salem and Columbiana and all of Mahoning County, you're saying, where's our storms? Well, you're missing out on the storms to the south. Probably going to mostly miss out on the main cluster of storms to the north. This cluster right here, which is doing some weakening as we speak, as it comes east. You may not miss out on kind of this more organized, let me zoom out here, this more organized line that's mostly sub-severe right now out here. We'll just take off the warnings for a minute, put a loop on this, kind of give you the big picture of how things look. Yeah, there's our line. All of this is, kind of impressive looking, but it's mostly sub-severe. Vivid lightning, but not lasting for very long. And this is closer to where our cold front is this evening. And while you may miss out on the severe weather threat in Mahoning County, northern Columbiana, you may not miss out on this kind of skinny line that will come through later on this evening. Another cool picture to show you here. This was the thunderstorm that produced the tornado warning earlier, just south of Pittsburgh. Cool looking shelf cloud here, and maybe even a wall cloud underneath that, where you see this lowering. And again, I know you can't see this if you're watching us on the stream on our apps and on the website, but if you're watching on social media, including my YouTube channel, yeah, kind of scary looking cloud. This is in western PA earlier. Got a shelf cloud right here and maybe a wall cloud underneath that where you see the lowering. Typically, shelf clouds are not quite as serious as wall clouds. Shelf clouds a lot of times occur with pretty generic thunderstorms. It's just kind of the leading edge of some rain-cooled air causing a lowering of the cloud and condensation a little bit lower to the ground. And they're cool to look at, but not particularly dangerous. Usually wall clouds oftentimes are indicative of a storm that is, the base is lowering. And if that wall cloud is rotating, then you've got perhaps a storm that is getting set to spawn a tornado. So that was the picture I just shared with you from western PA.
And Eric, if you
earlier.
go to National Weather Service, you scroll up to that Twitter pictures from about 722, media member in Cleveland. Click on that. That's a great picture from the Grafton area. I retweeted it as well.
Oh, this is okay. This is from the Grafton area earlier on. Look at the striations in the cloud. Kind of a mothership look to this.
Right.
These are the kind of photogenic thunderstorms that we don't see as often around here as we do out in Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, places like that. A lot of times our severe thunderstorms, and if we get tornadoes, a lot of times they're rain wrapped and they're hard to see and not the picturesque Wizard of Oz, if you will. Kind of tornadoes that oftentimes are in textbooks, and those are the kind of things that people think of when they think of tornadoes. We don't see those kind of things around here that often. A lot of times our storms are not quite as photogenic, but yeah, definitely very cool stuff from earlier in northern Ohio. ODOT in eastern Ohio County busy cleaning up some storm damage along Route 7. This is in Belmont County. I'll share this with you real quickly. Again, if you're watching on social media, looks like some tree damage here down towards Belmont County. This is well or south, shared by Eastern Ohio Department of Transportation. Here's another one from Lorain County earlier on. Yeah. Look at that. I mean, that's a pretty classic-looking supercell structure. Some striations in the clouds here. You've got your rain shaft down here. There's probably some trying to be a little hail, but probably mostly just heavy rain. If there's a tornado in that, it's really hard to see because it's mostly rain-wrapped, but haven't seen too many reports of a tornado on the ground of late as this moved through kind of the Lorain area and is getting set to head into the Cleveland area. So again, for those watching on Facebook or on YouTube/Twitter, getting some pretty vivid storm pictures over the last few hours across western PA and northern Ohio.
And that severe thunderstorm warning now officially expired.
They expired the severe thunderstorm warning for southern Columbiana?
Yep.
All right, so the severe thunderstorm warning that was out earlier for southern Columbiana. You're going to see it graphically still on our screen, but it takes a few minutes sometimes for the graphics to catch up. The Weather Service did expire it at 7:38 2 minutes ago. So it looks like we're in the clear now in southern Columbiana County. Might be seeing just a little bit of small hail, maybe some pea-sized hail trying to occur right now northeast of Calcutta. As you head northward on 7, as you go out of Calcutta and up into places like Pancake Clarkson Road and mostly north of Beaver Creek State Park, and even along 7 as you head up towards Rogers and 154 out of Elk Run closer to Rogers and points east, might be getting a little bit of small hail. I'm looking at my other radar source off screen here, and I don't think it's much, but right near the Ohio-PA border, we might be getting a little small hail. All of it's sub-severe, no big deal, but maybe a little small hail. Our severe thunderstorm warning has been allowed to expire a little bit early. All right, so with that being said, I think we're going to stop the live streaming coverage for now because we're out of the woods now in our southern viewing area for the time being. We have no imminent threat in our northern viewing area, The current severe thunderstorm warning runs until 8:30. It extends to the Portage Summit line. It extends to the Geauga Cuyahoga line, but no farther east right now. And actually, we're observing some weakening trends with that Boeing segment. So hopefully that trend will continue. So, because we have no active warnings in our TV viewing area, and I think any active warnings that we may have in about an hour or 45 minutes, that's still a ways off, we're going to stop the stream for now. We'll start the stream again if we have more active warnings with our northern cluster, as it perhaps impacts parts of Trumbull and Mercer counties eventually. But for now, we're going to sign off. So thanks for joining us on this live stream this evening, and we'll see you either on streaming coverage or tonight on 21 News at 11, a full weather update, and of course all the day's election news coming up on 21 News at 11 p.m.